Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar, A Day in the Life Managing Teams with the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. We're going to kick things off with a brief presentation to walk through the app, explore key user scenarios, and more. And after that, you'll get to see the app in action during a live demo. My name's Lindsay Stopa. I'm an engineering manager on the Microsoft 365 Copilot app team. We have two moderators today, Obi and Warith. They're going to be monitoring the chat and hopefully answering questions. So feel free to put any questions in the chat, and then we'll have some time at the end to do live Q&A as well. And then I'll be presenting with Liviana.
Yes, hello, I'm Liviana Gray. I'm also an engineering manager on the same team. And so I'm pretty excited here to be showing some interesting demos and answering some questions with Lindsay.
I don't know, did I say Obi and Warith are moderators? Sorry, I don't think I said they're
Yes.
product managers on the same team as well. So you'll get to know us all throughout the session. So we'll start it up. So I'll kick things off. Let's explore how artificial intelligence is changing the way we work. As AI continues to advance, it's reshaping how we handle tasks, collaborate across teams, and make decisions. Understanding this shift is key to anyone who's looking to use AI not just for a tool, but a strategic advantage in their day-to-day operation. So over the years, Office has continued to evolve to meet our shifting productivity demands. Back in the 1980s to 2010, we were moving from paper and pen to a digital surface and digital tools. Between 2011 and 2024, we really doubled down on collaboration needs with co-authoring at mentions and leveraging the Microsoft Graph. And now we're here. Copilot's integrated throughout all of our products. The M365 Copilot app creates an easy home for a new way of working with AI. Find my mouse, there it is. On this slide, you can see the dramatic shift in productivity that's enabled by AI. Tasks that used to take days can now be completed in minutes, thanks to the features that help users understand their intent, gather their information, make sense of that data, create content, and then you can ultimately reuse it to make your future interactions even simpler. So I'm going to talk about the M365 Copilot app. The Copilot is the UI for AI. Through this app, we are transforming the Copilot app into a home for a new way of working with Copilot. We keep hearing from our customers that they want a single place to work with Copilot, an integrated solution. That this app is going to be our answer to that. It's a home and a new way of working. It's anchored around chat while keeping you in the flow of the work all in one place. So you'll have one place to go to do all the things you want to do. And I will play a quick video to give you a tour of the M365 Copilot app.
Introducing Microsoft 365 Copilot, your always-on work assistant. Get the answers you need, spark fresh ideas, and create content effortlessly. We're infusing AI assistance into a set of powerful productivity assets so you can work smarter. At the heart of the new M365 Copilot app is chat. Helpful, conversational, intuitive. Prompt assistance helps you make the most of Copilot, leading to richer, more useful outputs. Work with text, images, graphs, or code in chat, and edit or build on it all in a side-by-side view with powerful, specialized editors. Copilot learns about your preferences and follows instructions so you can work the way you're used to, with help from AI. You can tailor your experience with agents, your AI-powered workforce. Agents can do tasks like deep research, perform advanced data analysis, and offer seamless integration with top third-party tools. Discover and share relevant agents in the store, or build your own, no coding required. Search connects your work data across Microsoft and beyond. Get highly personalized, contextual results from your documents, conversations, and apps. And now you can work smarter with Pages, making it easier to craft text, code, tables, diagrams, and more. Plus, your team collaboration is fueled by AI. With Copilot Notebooks, you can store your chats and files in one organized place, making it easy to build up ideas and create content. Create empowers you to generate and refine images, videos, designs, and more. Our new visual editor makes perfecting on-brand designs easy, with natural language refinements and AI-suggested edits. And Copilot meets you where you are, across web, desktop, and mobile. More than a chatbot, Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI productivity partner, helping you achieve more. Introducing...
I knew that was going to happen. Go ahead, Liviana.
All right, so I'll take it away for a little bit. I will walk through basically kind of the stuff that the video touched on, but maybe a little slower. So in practical terms, what we've done is we've transformed what you used to see on Office.com into this new Copilot app. So Office.com used to have this experience, and now it's this experience. So all those fancy stuff you saw in the video, the sidebar, the sort of chat experience, all of that is in the home of Office.com. Breaking it down, the sidebar is actually where a lot of the magic happens, all those terms that they sort of tossed in the side. So when we talk about AI search, that's the search button in the sidebar. When I talked about chat, that was sort of the main chat, and that's the one where if you initially go to Office.com, it will show that experience. All those agents are those little sub things right underneath. Thank you for pointing. Same thing, one particular agent that we've been spending a lot of time with is the researcher agent and analyst agents, which do sort of more deep dive looks into your data and thinking. So they take longer, but they produce better results. The Create module was a super fancy one they showed where they were like, let's generate all these cool images and banners and things by magic. And the one that actually we're going to be spending the most time talking about, because it's what our team works on, are actually the notebooks/pages ones, where you can actually create Copilot artifacts and organize them and work on them with your teammates. This is just sort of rehashing the same thing. There's a lot of different things that we're trying to basically make this be your home for all these different workflows. Usually during a day, you're trying to figure out what's my next step, what's this thing I want to build, how do I prepare for a next meeting. Right now they're spread across a whole bunch of different applications, and hopefully this will become a place to actually start just to even figure out where to go next. And yes, M365 Copilot is, you are probably familiar with a whole bunch of other AI agents. These are sort of the areas in which M365 Copilot will sort of differ. The biggest thing is, of course, it's directly connected to all your business data. So anything you have in the M365 ecosystem, it has access to in terms of your SharePoint, all your data files, things that you've already spent time and effort keeping in that ecosystem. It's integrated with M365 apps, so you can make Word documents, you can turn things into Excel, you can bring in things from all those applications, including your emails, Teams, all those other pieces of data. And of course, very important to Microsoft is this whole enterprise-grade security, privacy compliance. I think sometimes it seems like things are delivered slower, but one of the reasons is because we want to make sure that all the data that's stored in the system is protected and handled and not sent to unsafe places. So I said there's two concepts we're going to be talking about, Pages and then Notebooks. So I'll start with Pages because they kind of make up the essence of Notebooks. Pages are your digital canvas for collaborating with other people and Copilot. So it lets you turn your Copilot responses into those editable pages, and you can share those. You can actually, if you're familiar with the Loop platform, you can use a lot of the Loop platform capabilities to share them in other locations, make edits to them, and do more things. The Pages tab you'll see is what we call the Pages module, and that's sort of your new digital home for generating these pages, organizing them, making changes to them, and sort of getting a bird's eye view of all your data. And every page is powered by all Loop technology, which includes all the collaborative focus. So that's one of the very big features that we want to make sure is in the Pages. And yes, the top things, I mentioned collaborating, right? There's also the fact that you can just edit your pages, the fact that you can save your pages, and the fact that you can share your pages. Those are kind of the three pillars we're trying to build up around when we're building this whole ecosystem around it, which leads us to what you can do with those pages, which is make Copilot Notebooks. So Copilot Notebooks are your home for not only just organizing pages, but also grounding on those pages. So we've taken a lot of these ideas we've had OneNote for a long time. We've had this Loop platform that lets you do really cool things to collaborate with people. And we've had the Copilot ecosystem for letting you do AI things. So combining together sort of the core propositions for all of these is the idea behind Copilot Notebooks. You can find them in the Notebooks tab on the sidebar of your Copilot 365 home. And it lets you add pages, add other files that aren't pages, and then ground everything and share that with the rest of your teams and people you work with. And with that, I think it is time for us to do something fun and go on to the demos.
Favorite part, the live demo. So today we are going to be showing you a day in the life of an engineering manager at Contoso. This is Amanda, but I think on the account you're going to see my name and Levy's name. So, but basically we're going to show you a little bit about how Amanda might use the Copilot Hub to do her day-to-day work. And we're going to start, let me bring up a page. Where did my mouse go? Here it is. All right. So this is, if I were to go to office.com, this is what it looks like now. So I go to office.com, it's going to take me right to this Copilot Hub. And you can see I have that search box, the chat box. It's got notebooks, create, and then the different apps to look at, the researcher and analyst. So lots of cool features here. And I'm going to start my day. Here's my prompt. I don't want to have to type the whole thing in front of you, so let me go grab it real quick. Okay. So I'm going to start my day by asking Copilot to help me catch up. So I don't know about you, but sometimes you're out on vacation or even overnight and all these meetings happen. So I'm going to ask Copilot to catch me up on everything that I missed since Friday. I wanted to summarize my unread emails, my chat messages, the recent documents, any meetings or updates that I should know about to start my day, and then include action items, decisions made, and upcoming deadlines that I need to be aware of. And so I didn't point out here, but there's this work tab and this web tab. The work tab is going to be grounded on all of my M365 work stuff. So this is the place I want to ask this because it can get to everything about me, which is awesome. So in my case, Amanda was out since she took a long weekend. So she's catching up since Friday on what's happened. So it's going to start processing. It's looking through all my unread emails. And you can see here, it has some information about an unread chat message with Liviana that I want to look at. It's got a bunch of recent files that I need to maybe peek at. It's got a summary. I come down here. This is me scrolling slowly, not Copilot necessarily scrolling slowly. So it looks like I had 2 meetings scheduled over the last day. One was a spec review and a post-mortem on a coffee outage. And then I'm starting to get some action items and deadlines that I want to deal with. So let's see, it's telling me I need to gather some customer feedback. Oh, yep, I have an engineering spec that I want to look through and prepare for some implementation. So I'm going to ask Copilot to do some of this work for me. Let's see. Help create a to-do list. I'm going to ask it to help me create a to-do list for my day. Let me know what I need to do to prepare for my meetings. I definitely have more than one, so I'll make that meetings, not meeting. So Copilot's now going to go through that list that it went through, as well as my meeting calendar, and see what do I need to do for my day. Just taking a minute here, thinking. All right, so it's made a personalized to-do list, and you can see I've got some feature work that I need to work on. There's a task assignment system, looks like that we're coming into work on. There's customer feedback I need to look at. This seems pretty similar to the stuff that I asked it to do. I'm going to say I want it to make it into a specific list. I don't want to have to read through all of it. So make it into a to-do list for me. And you can see I've started to get some specific meetings that I need to look through and the customer feedback I need to look at. So if I look at my calendar, you can see here I've got this telemetry review today. I have an engineering plan that needs to be ready. And then I have a one-on-one with Karen on my team. And so if I come back here to Copilot, you can see I've got some stuff that I need to do to prepare for my meetings. And I am going to open that up in a page. So I'll click the Edit in Pages button. And you can see here, it's putting all of the stuff for my meeting prep in here. So nice, I have a little like to-do list that I can work from and go from there. So then I'm going to go back and I am actually going to get ready for that telemetry dive. So if I need to look at the telemetry, you know, there's probably some data that I want to dive into here. So I'm going to say look over the reliability data for the to-do app and help me determine a threshold. Learning. I don't know about you, but sometimes you have all of this reliability data and you've got a new feature you're rolling out and you're trying to determine, you know, what threshold should I alert on? What data do I need to dive into? And so in this case, I asked it to go look at the data that I have. So the Copilot agent's going to go find whatever data I happen to have already put up into the system, and it's going to help me analyze it and figure out what I want to do with that data. So let's see. So it found this to-do app reliability data file. It was able to look at the data and determine that like my typical uptime is above 96%. It shows that I had an outage on August 26th. Good to know. There's some other dips in my telemetry. And based on the data, it was able to determine a threshold that I should alert on. And it even gives me some next steps on things I might want to try. So super cool. Again, I'm going to turn that into a page because I'm going to make it into a new page. I don't want to mess up my to-do list. And then I can share that off with Liviani and see what she thinks about this data. I'm going to rename my page to-do app ability. And I'm going to mention Livian here. Go. So let's see what Liviana says. So that's going to send a sharing message to Liviana so she can see the page that I created. Again, very little work on my part. Like Copilot did all the work for me, created the page, came up with next steps so that she and I can work together to move this forward. My next step is, now that I've got that task done, I saw that I needed to get ready for an engineering plan. And to do that, I think I'm actually going to make a notebook because I'd rather have all of the data that I want together. So notebooks are a super cool feature. It's a way to gather a bunch of files and a bunch of interactions. You can put in meeting chats, you can put in, you know, transcripts for meetings, you can put notes, loop pages, Word, Excel, PowerPoint files, any of your files, and it doesn't literally move them. It just kind of creates links to them and gathers them all together. And it's really neat because I can then ask Copilot about all of that gathered data, and it's grounded on all of the information that I want it to be grounded on, and kind of scope to that. So I'm going to make a to-do app recent changes feature. And in this notebook, maybe I'm going to kick off this new feature. So I want to pull all the pieces about that feature together. So I'm going to look for my to-do app stuff. Let's see. So there was this is an engineering plan from a previous project that might be helpful so that it knows what I want my engineering plan to look like. Here's some usage data that might be helpful to put in here as well. Let's see, and here's some reliability data. And then I need to go find that spec. So let's see, recent changes. Oh, I thought that's what it was called. Is it not called? Oh, it's recent activity, huh? Close enough. All right. Oh, yeah. Here's the recent activity spec that I want. So I will create that. And so now it's pulled in all the references to the files, and you can see it's starting to create my notebook. And all of the references that I put in here are now here. So I could ask questions here about, you know, what's going on the project, and it'll help me figure that out. So, but in this case, I actually want to make that engineering plan. So I'm going to ask it to help me do that. So let's see. We'll say create an engineering plan outline based on that PM spec for the recent activity of the to-do app. I want it to include all of my edge cases that we need to consider: security, privacy, accessibility, the different stages for the work, partners that I want to engage with, a rollout plan, a telemetry plan, and suggestions. So lots of things that I'm going to ask Copilot to handle here. So we'll kick that off. So again, it's going to do this based on the data that I've put into this notebook. And it's really great because you can continue to leverage that notebook over time and continue to add resources there and collaborate in that space. So here is an engineering plan that Copilot's writing for me. So it's got a bit of a feature overview of what the recent activity view is, the different stages of work that I might do, different edge cases that it found based on the spec. Here's some security and privacy considerations, accessibility, different partners that I might want to engage with, a rollout plan, telemetry plan, suggestions. This is awesome. This is great. Can you add a list of engineering tasks and a timeline? Why not? We'll ask it to do some more. So here it added some more task lists and our timelines. You can see I've now put it down to weeks 2 through 5, 7, and some planning and design. So I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to put it in a page once it finishes. Oh, it's adding some testing stuff to consider too. Awesome. And telemetry. Perfect. I don't want it to just be in the spreadsheet, but I will edit in pages. So I'm going to make it into this collaborative page. Creating my page for me. There we go. All right, so here is my plan, and I think I'm actually going to ask Liviani if she has some data to add here. Here we go. Liviani, can you wait? How about this? Do you have any customer feedback that we can leverage for this? All right, and I'm going to share that with Liviana. All right, here you go, Levy. It's coming your way.
Okay, so what do I see? Let me switch over to show what I have up here. So I see there were some questions in chat, and one of the things we really wanted to address was that a lot of the same exact technology, the same thing that you're familiar with Loop Pages, is also in these Copilot pages. In fact, it's actually sort of technology-wise a very, very similar backing. So things you saw Lindsay actually have mentioned me, all the things that you're familiar with Loop components where they hydrate in line in your apps wherever you are, where it scrolls down to where you're actually app mentioned and deep links, all those things are core promises that you'll be able to also rely on with Copilot pages. In this case, Lindsay, yes, wants me to take a look at this and know my thoughts. So here you can see, I can definitely still check. You can see that both Lindsay and Copilot were generating this, and Lindsay alone typed this line. We have all of our familiar presence, and she is apparently typing exactly right here. I can leave a thought here because that's what she asked me to do. This seems to match my understanding pretty well. Maybe we need some more data than just 1 month. It looks pretty good. Also, I wanted to show that all of these, when they open up, they will take you right back to the same experience that Lindsay had. There was a question about notebook sharing. Notebook sharing is something that I know people have been investing in and actively working on. Right now, this actually just takes me to the page view inside of Copilot Pages. So if I need a broad view, edit things, if my brain doesn't work, between 500 pixels and 800 pixels, I need to actually have more. This is sort of how I can get there. A few more things. Loop components also hydrate in Teams. So we can take a look. This is the message that Lindsay was asking about the customer feedback from earlier. All the same things with tables. There were some questions about planner connections. Anything that the Loop page has access to in terms of planner connections, the Copilot page will also have access to. Nested components. So this is actually another component that I created that is inside of here. And let's try this. Hopefully this works. All of our other nested components like YouTube videos and other things that we also support in Loop Pages will also show up here. So here's a competitor app. We apparently also built at Microsoft. Maybe some feedback from there that's interesting. And of course, I can take all my content from my conversation in Teams with people and add it here. So if I want to make a section, or let's say feedback section. Actually, let's make this a header with all of my same keyboard shortcuts. Feedback section, put in that component here. And now in Lindsay's view, she will also see the same nested components and feedback sections that I have been working on in my other conversation with Lindsay in our Teams chat. What else should I mention here? We also have a lot of what your Copilot data is grounded on. A big investment we've had is to actually show the sources. In this case, the source is reliability. So we also have all of these links and references to sources that come from your Copilot session directly in Loop Pages as well. So really, it's meant to be a sort of more permanent storage for the work that you got out of Copilot so that you can reference it and build upon it. And I think that's it for me.
All right. I will go back to my sharing screen. Let's see here. And switch it over. There we go. And so you can see this is that same page that Liviani was looking at. And I can see the embedded component. I also get these nice blue dots to tell me that she's added this change. I can see the attribution that says Levy did the work, and I can go check it all out. So super cool. Awesome. So that feels pretty good. I think we're in a good state for that spec review this afternoon. Let me see. What else did I have to do today? If I go back to that list, so we had the spec review. That's my recent activity, task assignment system. Where is that coffee outage? I didn't see it on there. It was on my other list. Let me see. Thought there was something about a coffee outage. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I got the telemetry covered. And got the engineering plan ready. What else do we got? Here's my mouse. And oh, yeah, I'm sorry. The coffee outage meeting wasn't today. That was yesterday. That was what it was in my recap. Okay, so let's see what they did in that postmortem on the coffee outage. So this is kind of cool because I missed the meeting and it can go through the meeting and help me figure out what happened. So can you summarize the notes on the coffee? If I could type. Do that. Let me know what went wrong. What key takeaways there? My next steps. All right. Nice. I don't think it'll mind my typos. So again, awesome because I missed a meeting yesterday and it can help me figure out what happened in the meeting. It'll go through the transcript from the meeting, summarize it. And so you can see here's this incident overview. Looks like it was about a 2-hour incident. That's not ideal. And you can see the timeline of all of the events of the incident. And you can see all the feedback from everybody from the postmortem yesterday. So we see Carlos had some thoughts on it. Karen added her thoughts, Lydia. Okay, and we got some engineering emerging themes that came out. We can detect the gaps. And then I can get some next steps from the meeting. So this is great. Since we're in a demo, Tim, I can't, but I think I'd probably then turn it into a page and I would say, okay, assign these tasks to other people on the team and they can all dive in, which would be awesome. But since I don't have that and a bunch of teammates to send this to, I'm going to actually do my other work, which was my one-on-one with Karen this afternoon. So this is a totally different part of the feature, a little bit more fun versus work related. But I happen to know that Karen has an anniversary today. And so I want to make sure we make her one-on-one more fun. And, oh, it's because I had something open from the other day. Okay, so I'm going to actually make a nice poster for Karen's anniversary at the company. So this is our create module. And it's really cool because it gives you like all of these templates that you can build off of. You can create images, videos, a design infographic, stories, and a whole bunch of things that you can use it for. But I'm going to design actually just a poster. Help me create a poster to celebrate Karen's 5th anniversary at Microsoft. And I'm going to ask it to leave some space, leave some space so folks can sign it. And then you can pick different brand colors. So perhaps your company has a specific, palette, and you would want to make this specific brand kit for your company. So when you make the poster, it aligns with the company's theme. There's lots of possibilities there. I'm just going to pick a different one myself. I think I like this color today. And so we will create a poster. So I love this feature because it makes something super fun and it saves you a ton of time. I don't know about you, but I would be fiddling with making a poster for hours to make it look just right. And Copilot is just going to do the work for me. It takes a little bit of time because it takes minutes versus the hours that I would have spent. So we'll give it some time to process. And in the meantime, we can answer a few questions if there's questions from the audience.
Oh, cool. I was thinking of asking a fun question to start.
Sure.
I was going to ask, what's it like, building the Copilot app as engineers? What's your experience been?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly about crazy because, there's always these new apps coming in. I think a lot of people don't know a lot about where the future of AI is, and that includes us. And so I think we're always trying out new things, trying to build things. But it is a lot of fun working on something that is somewhat very cutting edge, very new. I think Loop gave us a lot of that experience, and Copilot is sort of the continuation of that. And that's always been a very exciting challenge.
Yeah, I think Libby and I both have had the opportunity to work on super cool things in our careers at Microsoft, but this is like really something that could be transformative and really change the industry. So it's been a real roller coaster of like trying new things, learning things really, really fast, and just experimenting and incrementally improving as much as we can. So it's been fun, but definitely challenging as well.
Cool. Thank you for answering that. So I also want to ask, what's the difference between the work and web modes in Copilot chat? We had a question. Someone asked, having context is great for Copilot to give more precise answers, and having access to all my company data will help. However, my company is huge, so most of the company context is still far away from the context that would be directly relevant for my work. Does Copilot have ways to understand that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fairly sure it's not grounded on everything ever on your company in terms of when you're asking it questions. So it's powered how Microsoft Graph gives you, these are the people you talk with the most, these are the files that we think are most relevant to your work. That same logic and flow of thought is likely the same one that's also going to be in the work tab.
Yeah, it's actually really personalized. Like if I ask a prompt or my manager asks a prompt or one of my coworkers, we'll get very different data and different responses. So it's grounded on the data that's relevant to you. It's grounded on the files that you open the most often, and it's looking at your calendar and your communications and meetings that you've been in, which is really nice. And the web tab is like not grounded on your work stuff at all. So like if I go to the web tab, I'm going to get totally different responses. I'll even get different like recommended prompts. Like this is one I played with this morning. Like, what if I'm going to plan a fall trip? So I can go do that, and it doesn't mess up with my work data, which is kind of cool. Like I can do something totally just for fun and say, okay, I want to help plan a trip, and it'll go find all this information for me.
Can you imagine if it was like, oh, you actually have meetings tomorrow? I don't think you can do this trip.
Yeah, that would creep me out. I'm doing it anyway. It's also neat, like I can then say, my kids are 8 and 10. Make sure to take that into account. And it'll like rethink the trip, which is super cool. So it says things that maybe my kids would want to do versus any other kids. So I really love that. Used it to plan birthday parties too. Super helpful with that too. So make birthday invitations. But yeah, this is our result of our poster about Karen's anniversary. I don't know about you, but that would have taken me hours to come up with. And it probably wouldn't have looked nearly as good. You can then transform it with AI too, which is really cool. Like maybe I want to change the colors. Maybe I want to change the font. I want to move the number 5 around or change it to a 6, and it'll do it for me, which is great. So.
Oh, thank you. I was also curious, like, what is the chat capability in M365 Copilot, and how does that differ from other M365 apps?
Sorry, could
You're saying compared to like the Copilot interface you'd find in like Word on the side of it, like that?
Yes, yeah, exactly that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one in the Copilot Hub is designed to help you find what you want and connect with all different tools. So if you wanted to, take your Word document, turn that into a PowerPoint, that's kind of what it's for. The ones directly integrated in the Word PowerPoint experiences, those are more for refining directly on that one thing you're working with, connecting in with those specific tools in those apps.
Yeah, I would say it's very much about the grounding, right? So when you're in the Copilot Hub and using chat, it's grounded on everything you have access to, all of your M365 data. When you're in Word and using it, it's the same Copilot, but it's working locally within that file. It can reach out to other resources, but it knows that your center of gravity is this Word file that you're working in. And similarly in notebooks, like it's the same Copilot, it's your same coworker to work with, but in this case, it's grounded on the data that you've gathered for the notebook. You can scope your queries.
Oh, cool. Thank you for answering that. So someone asked, is there any relation between OneNote and notebooks?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely, if not the product, the spirit, the same team is working on both. I think there's actually much closer integration in that because a lot of notebook experience is being built to work directly within OneNote, be sort of the transformation of some of those OneNote experiences. So I don't know if I would describe that as like, identical twins, siblings, but they are actually, I think, the similar in that they're trying to help you both do the same tasks, collaborate, and bring all of your references together into one place.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. There was also like a question like about, someone is a big fan of Loop and they were just wondering if they could integrate Loop into Pages or notebooks. So this could be a good time to just talk about the differences between Loop and Pages and the similarities as well. Like how
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I was trying to allude to, I think, in my little portion of the demo. But it really is, like, from me, an engineering perspective especially, it really is nearly the same tech. Everything's the same. So when you, and that makes it very easy for cross-compatibility. When you do have your meeting note loop components or your loop components you've generated through some other flows, those will be able to be added to your notebooks the same way as Pages are, because underlying all of that, they're kind of exactly the same to the system. So you can definitely have your notebooks that you collect all of your meeting notes artifacts from and things like that, and that should work seamlessly.
Oh, thank you. This is like a fun question. I don't think we covered this, but can you create a podcast from a Copilot notebook today?
Can you create a what did you say? Sorry.
A podcast.
I actually think there are ways to create podcasts from it. I have not personally tried it, but I know that Copilot can create podcasts for you. So I believe so.
Oh, thank you. And can you provide like
I'm not promising, but I'm pretty sure it's there.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you provide custom instructions for your Copilot notebook, and how could that help you while using a Copilot notebook?
Yes, you can. So you can do things like maybe you want it to always respond in a certain language or with a certain tone. You can add those custom instructions and it will follow them, which is cool.
Cool. I'm just looking through the questions now. Someone asked if all created pages are saved. So, love to ask if you all know how that works, or how could people get back to the pages they create in chat?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All the pages you create in the Copilot experience, I believe, are saved. There are some modes you're familiar with loop components when you're in draft, like an email before you've sent it, or a Teams chat before you've sent it, where you're in like sort of a loop experience and it's not saved. But I don't believe anything that you can get to here in the Copilot app is an unsaved experience. So they're automatically saved.
Yeah, and I didn't show that in the demo, but like here are all of the conversations that I've had. And so I can get back into the conversations with their pages. And then there's also this under pages. These are my recent pages and all of my pages. So again, this is a demo host, so not something that has a lot of data because it's all fake-ish. But this is where I could go find all the pages I've had. The other cool thing, and I don't know, they're actually all stored in your private workspace too in Loop. So if I go to my workspace, you can see all the pages are usually here. Oh, maybe they're not today. But yeah, so you'll have this personal workspace in Loop and a bunch of your pages will be here. I deleted most of mine, so they're not there, sorry. But yeah, but they are definitely stored and they're all available here in the pages, which is cool. You can see all your pages and you can go back to them.
Cool, thank you so much.
And then you can also still get to all of your traditional apps too if you wanted to. And another thing we didn't show on Pages, if I go back to this page, I could then even export it to Word and it'll open it. It'll take my whole page and put it into Word as well. So
yeah, super cool.
Yeah, in case you have that coworker that's like, I only open documents in Word with track changes turned on. Well, there you are.
Here's your option. Yep.
I think we've gotten to a lot of questions. Thank you both so much for hosting this session. This was really fun. Yeah.
Of course.
Awesome.
And I don't know how these things normally work, but I guess if you put more questions in the survey or have more questions afterwards, I feel like we're very open to feedback and answering those.
Yes.
Definitely.
Sounds good. Thank you both so much. Thank you everyone for joining the session.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us today.
Yeah.
Excited to show off the Copilot Hub.